Good morning. It's about 6:30. We are day 23. I think we're June 28th now. So we are just getting ready from the Saddleback in motel in Rangley. We're going to take a shuttle out to the trailhead this morning. The whole SOBO family is going, although we have one who's already ahead of us. She did some slack packing, and she was saying that some of the routes we're going to be taking, particularly the descent on Blue Mountain, or Big Blue. Anyway, it's been pretty slick because it's been raining pretty steadily since we got off trail. Off and on, the weather is still claiming it's going to rain pretty much all week long, but the amount of rain seems to have lessened, but whether that actually comes to fruition, well, we'll see. It's not raining presently, so yay. How long that'll last? We're supposed to be in for some thunderstorms today, later on this afternoon, but we're not going over any high peaks today. It's going to be kind of a steady, slow climb up to our shelter, which is about 9.5 miles, I believe. So we're just going to pack up, get ready to go, have a pretty easy day, I guess. I mean, relative to what we've had. Again, it's going to be wet. We're kind of all preparing mentally for 4 days of wetness. There is a stopover 2 days out. You could get into Andover if you need to, and I think 2 of our group need to go there for some postal services. They had some packages dropped off there. But most of us are just going to push on straight through to Bethel. So that's 4 days into the woods, which is good because, we've taken not a lot of zeros, but enough. And I think 3 now, which is good though, because you don't want to push too hard. We have been making pretty big miles for people who just started, but we're starting to get our trail legs. So most of us are starting to feel a bit stronger, but still, you don't need to injure yourself, because that's how a lot of injuries happen, is just pushing too hard. So 9.5 will be good today, and I think tomorrow's not too bad. The last 2 days are kind of a bigger push and bigger hills and bigger descents, but that'll be then. So hopefully the weather clears up for us and does some wonderful things. Fingers crossed, but realistically, probably going to be a soggy next 4 days. So gonna get packing and get going. Okay, so we're just outside waiting for our shuttle ride. Steve to show up from the hiker hut. We've called and left a message. I think he should be showing up hopefully soon. We didn't contact him directly, or didn't talk to him directly, but he does do quite a few shuttle runs, so hopefully Steve will be on his way. And we're all packed and good to go. We got Jeff's pack here. Ta-da. We did a final check of the room. It was a great place to stay. Not the cheapest of places, certainly, but had a hot tub. And we finally got the hot tub hot. So it was really good to soak the muscles in that. They actually feel pretty good. You can do a little stretching this morning while we wait for Steve and get going. So hopefully we'll be up and running, because it's now 7:45 and we want to get on the trail. I mean, it's only 9 miles, but I like to get off early if I'm up. Let's get going. Alrighty. Made it to the trailhead. Are you ladies okay? I'll be on camera. Yeah. Part of the SOBO family. We got buckets and bottles here, and we're going to be starting. We're just waiting for the boys to get their shuttle ride. We couldn't all fit in the one Jeep, van, car, whatever. We're going to get started. To that green tunnel in about 9 o'clock, and we'll be headed out shortly for 9-ish miles. We're about 2.3 miles in. We're just going up a nice easy grade, slowly but steadily up. I think we end up at the highest peak, 3,600 today, maybe, I'm not sure. I just finished my morning snack bar. Wasn't very good, but it's what the grocery store had, so that's what I got. So we're just trekking through the woods. It's not raining yet. It's just misty and gray and quite dark in the green tunnel today, actually. Lots of wetness. Didn't rain too heavily last night, so it's a bit of a blessing for us to keep the streams and bogs a little lower. But we're still getting wet feet, because that is the theme of the Sobos this year. And that's pretty much it. I'm still waiting for Jeff and the rest of the Sobo bubble who are on the second shuttle out to catch up, but I suspect they won't be long behind me. I'm just doing my usual speed, which not fast, but a good speed for me right now. The joints are good. Did some extra stretching this morning since I had the time, and feeling pretty good. I think it's going to be a good day, even if it rains. A couple of section hikers on the trail, so we'll have to see who gets the shelters tonight, or who tents, or what kind of a space we end up in. But for now, we'll just keep slogging it. And this is the muck and the rain that we are walking through. All day long we are wet, wet, wet. Ugh. Okay, so we're about, I guess, a mile and a half out from the tent site. We've actually been making pretty good time. The terrain, other than being swampy and wet, isn't too bad. It's not a lot of steep ups, it's not a lot of steep downs. It's just rocky and swampy and some moderate ups and downs. So it's easier to pick up a slightly faster pace, which is nice. Although I think we're about to go a nice big down. But hopefully we'll be there within the hour and start to dry up. Oh yeah, that's a nice big down. Okay, here we go. It is raining. It is thundering, so I'm glad we made it here before all that happened. We did actually even manage to make a fire and kind of dry some things out a bit, because we did hit a pretty good little storm this afternoon, so I was pretty soaked. I didn't bother putting on rain gear. It was warm enough, but it just means that when you get to camp, everything is very, very wet. So it was kind of nice to dry it out in the fire. Big Agnes, part of our Sobo family, is a whiz at starting fires, even though everything is damp and wet. So they're just up there having some dinner right now, and I'm gonna join them shortly here. But I thought I'd do a little final update and wrap up for the night. And we're on a wooden platform, which is kind of neat. So hopefully this means, despite the fact that it is raining, and it's been raining really hard today, that it won't pool underneath us and we won't float away, and our tent will be waterproof like it's supposed to be. It's doing good right now, so hopefully it'll continue to be that way. And tomorrow I think we have another 9-mile day. I think we got a big climb and a big descent though, so it could be a much more challenging day, but we'll see that when tomorrow comes. Good morning. It is day 24. We are still at the shelter. We're just getting ready to go. It's about 6:37-ish. Oh, no, it's almost 7. We got a bit of a later start because we were hoping the rain would start to die down, because It's still raining, and it really, really rained last night, like sheets and sheets. It's a good thing we're on a tent platform. Otherwise, we would be swimming in a lake. But it's breakfast, got most things packed up. Gonna drop my gear off the shelter and then take down the tent. It's gonna be a wet, soggy day. It's 8.3 miles, which doesn't sound like a big distance, but there's definitely a good hill in there and a good climb. And we have one stream crossing, so it's a wide stream crossing, so hopefully all this water can be contained in there and we don't, it's wet, and we don't float away or have to find a different route around it. So I'm not really looking forward to that, but you know, maybe it won't be so bad. Usually anticipation is the worst. So just getting ready in our wetness. Things didn't really dry, obviously. We might try to stay in the shelter tonight. I thought we were going to last night, but there was just way too many people at this shelter. They just, like, we got here early and set up tent, and just more and more people kept coming. I'm not really sure where they stayed because it didn't look like there's that many tent sites. I think we were the only one that had a tent platform, but we're probably also the biggest tent. The problem with a 3-person triplex is that it has a very large footprint, so it's quite a behemoth to set up. The smaller tents can fit into much more discrete areas and sort of that off-trail type of shelters that aren't really, well, stealth camping, that's the word I'm looking for. You can't really stealth camp in this thing, it's too big. But we're going to get going soon, and probably won't do a whole lot of filming today if it's raining, because it's just too soggy to bring the camera out, or well, the phone out. I mean, I will definitely, but if it's a little lackluster, it's because there's nothing to see. It's raining and it's wet and it still looks like bogs. But we'll see how the day progresses, and keep the chin up, because we're so sick of the rain. But it is supposed to rain for the next couple of days, so we knew we were in for it. Maybe the weather gods will be nice to us and give us a little break, but you know, we'll see how it goes. All right, let's get cracking. Okay, this was our stream crossing for today. It did get up to just below my short lines or mid-thigh. It does have a pretty strong current and the rocks are slippery, but it was easily passable with a bit of time and foot dexterity. And now we're just going to continue on the path here. It's going to squeeze out the socks, I believe, and we'll just keep running. We're about halfway up the mountain, and so we're about halfway up the mountain. Bugs haven't been too bad, but they've certainly been at us today. It's staying overcast, but no hopes on keeping that for the time being. We've got 2 more hikers behind us going to cross that river, but I don't feel too concerned that they won't be able to make it, so there's no point in waiting around for them. We're just going to crack on and finish up the last 4.5 miles. We got a nice big climb before we get there, so hopefully the day won't be too bad. The terrain's been pretty slippery and muddy. I've definitely got a good couple of slides on there, and I slid down on the shoulder a bit, but I just had a nice bath in the creek, and so now we're gonna, like I said, crack on and get going, and hopefully get a chance to dry out there. Like I said, it's only an 8.5 mile day, but that doesn't necessarily mean an easy 8.5, but right now it's pretty good to rain until we start climbing a bit, and that'll be that. So off we go. Okay, we're on, I think the highest peak or close to it's the picture point of no view. There probably is a lovely view, but it's raining and misty and foggy. A little bit of blue sky peeped out over there. Hopefully it'll last a little longer, that'd be nice. Right now we're just walking up some big slabs. It's about 11:30, so I'm just taking a little break and having some jerky. It's been wet feet all day, lots of water running on the trail. I don't think it's supposed to be a river, the trail, but it certainly has been the theme in Maine thus far. But we are actually getting closer. I think we've only got about 60 miles left of Maine, which means we've hiked about 200 miles. I said kilometers in there, I meant miles. Still trying to get used to this other system. But yeah, so we're just, we are motoring. It's definitely taking a toll on the morale, all this rain and wet feet, and just having a sunny day makes such a big difference. And we just really haven't had any of that. And so maybe that sun will peek out a little longer, but sadly probably not. Maybe tomorrow. Okay, let's have some jerky. Made it to Bemis second peak there. You can see it is starting to sprinkle a little bit, but the clouds seem to be lifting in the distance. So maybe we'll get lucky, and maybe we won't. Who knows? I pray to the sun gods for some nice weather. But here we are. Anyway, it's about 1.3 miles to the campsite, and we are gonna go this way and get there so that I can have some proper lunch and set up the tent, and hopefully we dry out a little bit before the next deluge, because there's always a next deluge. Okay. Tent setup is set up. Is it gonna rain, do you think? I should probably close this.
I would close it, just in case.
Just in case.
It shouldn't be any worse than what's already happened.
Sure. Okay. So.
How much water do I need?
Tent setup. Set up. We're gonna stay in shelter, but we found this spot. Hopefully it'll be a good spot to not get rained out. We are at the Bemis lean-to, I believe. The Sobo, most of the Sobo family is here, and an extra. We've got a fire started because we have the ultimate fire starter Sobo with us. So we've been trying to dry our stuff out, and it's actually not rained during the day. It is supposed to start raining kind of right around now-ish, so hopefully that won't be the case. But it's been a good day. It's been good. We got here pretty early, so we've been relaxing and enjoying it and just stretching, and kind of like a Nero day, but we hiked 8.5 miles, and tomorrow's a bigger day. I think it's 12.7, and we do a big blue mountain, pretty substantial climb. So I'm going to make some dinner.